Get back in the vehicle, it's showing as stolen.
As Courtney Heitzman pulled into her driveway and got out of her Kia Optima on Friday, May 31st, she turned and saw an Amherst police officer behind her.
Radio, I got the driver at gunpoint.
A few seconds later, Courtney's daughter runs to the door to see what the commotion is all about.
Just stay in the house, please.
Stay in the house, please. Stay in the house.
In a panic, Courtney called her mother.
Mom, there's a cop. He's got a gun and he's pointing it at me. A cop.
So the first video clip that you just saw was, a cop holding a woman at gunpoint because she's driving her own vehicle and she decided to pull into her own driveway. Yeah, we understand that. That's not even really going to be the focus of the video. I mean, it is, but it's not. But here's the focus, the common sense factor. Because as we're going to see, yes, there was a clerical mix-up somewhere that had this vehicle listed as a stolen vehicle. And yes, the cop was simply doing his job. He saw the stolen vehicle, he must recover it. If he saw the stolen vehicle and he did nothing, then everyone would say, hey, what are you doing? Do your job. So he was doing his job. But the problem again is this. In doing your job as a police officer, there must be a common sense factor that plays into this. You have to be able to critically think sometimes. You can't just react and pull your gun and then pull the trigger. Let's continue to watch this video and give me your thoughts about this down below. I'll give you mine after this. Let's check this out.
Get back in the vehicle, it's showing as stolen.
As Courtney Heitzman pulled into her driveway and got out of her Kia Optima on Friday, May 31st, she turned and saw an Amherst police officer behind her.
Radio, I got the driver at gunpoint.
A few seconds later, Courtney's daughter runs to the door to see what the commotion is all about.
Just stay in the house, please.
Stay in the house, please. Stay in the house.
In a panic, Courtney called her mother.
Mom, there's a cop. He's got a gun and he's pointing it at me. A cop.
To understand how Courtney found herself in this situation, we have to go back to May 10th, when her Kia was
stolen while I was at work in the city of Buffalo.
Courtney reported it to the Buffalo police.
4 hours after the time of the call, another set of officers or another district officers wound up getting an abandoned vehicle call and recovered this car.
Recovered before it could be entered into the state system as stolen.
Is this a situation where a car was stolen, abandoned, recovered, and put into an impound lot just simply before the paperwork could be done?
That appears to be the situation before the entries could be made.
So here's the issue. As I stated before, the critical thinking aspect. So you're following this vehicle that's listed as stolen, and it can possibly be a dangerous person inside of that vehicle who actually stole it, if it's actually stolen. They pull into their home. You have a clear view of who you're looking at. It's a younger woman, maybe in her mid-20s or early 30s. While you have your gun out, her daughter comes outside. You tell the daughter to go back inside. And then you hear her on the phone crying to her mother that there's a police officer. He's pointing his gun at me.
Mom, there's a cop. He's got a gun and he's pointing it at me. A cop.
She's discombobulated. We can look at the area, probably not the area where, this may typically happen, but, car theft happens anywhere. I get it. But just putting all of the context clues together, I would probably come to the point where this may not be a car thief. She may not be the one who stole the vehicle. I mean, she's certainly not dressed the part, I don't think the little girl, the little 8-year-old, however old she was, I don't think she was a part of it. And maybe there's a chance that the mother that she's crying to on the phone is not a part of this either. So yes, I understand how a felony traffic stop is conducted on stolen vehicles, but maybe I can lower my gun and stop her from having a heart attack a little bit sooner, rather than continuing to point my gun at her while she's in mid freak out mode, crying to her mother on the phone. Maybe I can resolve this a little bit quicker by just critically thinking.
Later that night, not realizing it had already been recovered, Buffalo police entered Courtney's vehicle as stolen into the New York statewide police information network. So in the eyes of every police department in the state, Courtney's car was still considered stolen. The vehicle was eventually towed to a repair shop, and Courtney got it back on May 29th. It was during her drive home on May 31st when she drove past an Amherst police officer on Sweet Home Road.
His license plate reader in his vehicle indicated that there was a stolen vehicle that he'd passed.
Amherst Police Chief Scott Chamberlain says the officer then swung around and began following Courtney.
He sped up really close and there were no lights. I wasn't sure if I should pull over or not, and I was so close to home, I just continued to drive home. I figured lights would come on if I was getting pulled over.
By the time that all that information was gathered, the vehicle had pulled into a driveway. The officer stopped, pulled up behind the vehicle and initiated a traffic stop.
So the backstory, well, her vehicle was stolen while she was at work in the city of Buffalo. The city of Buffalo reported the vehicle stolen inside of their system. They recovered the vehicle a few hours later, but they never take the vehicle out of the system as being stolen. So now when she's going home in Amherst, an Amherst police officer pulls her over at gunpoint, but he conducts a felony stop. And if you've never seen a felony stop or know nothing about a felony stop, those type of stops will make, and they are designed to make you think you will be shot at the slightest movement.
Why are you pointing a gun at me?
I am not pointing a gun at you. I'm pointing a gun at the gun.
You did, though.
I did, yes, absolutely I did.
Why? Because I'm right in front. You see
Yes.
the car, it's registered to this
Okay,
house.
Courtney, just
I
hang
live
tight for a
here.
second.
No, this is not right. This is not
Not
right.
radio.
When you got out of your car and saw that a gun was drawn on you, what immediately went through your head?
I was gonna die. Like, I didn't know what the heck was going on.
So when we have a stolen vehicle, what we do is called a felony car stop.
I understand. So,
hold on.
you're
So
gonna
let
pull
me
a gun
finish.
out in front of me, in
Yes,
front of my own
100%.
home?
100%.
That's terrible.
Yes, hold on.
You're
So
gonna
let
pull
me
a gun
finish.
out in front of me, in
Yes,
front of my own
100%.
home?
100%.
That's terrible.
Yes, this is negligence on the end of the Buffalo Police Department, okay? I apologize for that. Your vehicle will be removed as stolen so that you can drive it without getting pulled out at gunpoint, okay?
Since this incident happened, changes have been made.
She said something very key in that last clip. She stated that you can see that this vehicle is registered to this house. Now what she's doing is the police work for the police officer, because when you run a tag, yes, you're going to see where the vehicle is registered, and you can easily look at the address of where you are located and put 2 and 2 together, and magically it comes up with 4. This vehicle is registered at this address. She does not fit the part of a car thief. Hopefully the little girl doesn't either, and I don't think her mother does. Doesn't seem like the area. Maybe this is not the car thief. Wow.
I still never really got an explanation on why the gun was held on me for so long.
Every single cop across the country is taught to do that for stolen vehicles.
When a police officer tags, a vehicle comes up as stolen, they pull them over, that is standard operating procedure to conduct a felony traffic stop?
It depends on the situation, I would say. It's not, I wouldn't say every single time.
But for Courtney Heitzman, the experience has left a lingering sense of uneasiness.
It just felt like in that moment that I wasn't a human, that this traumatic experience happened, but oh well, it's another day at the office for me. See you later, bye. That's not right.
And finally, you hear the officer state that every single cop across the country is taught to do that for stolen vehicles. Yes and no. Okay, you will conduct a felony traffic stop, but you want to absolutely, positively make sure you have all of the information correct. And you want to be able to think, all right, clearly, and use common sense, which did not happen in this situation. So yes, you can conduct a felony stop on a stolen vehicle, but as we used to say in the police department, the totality of the circumstances. Look at everything involved. Of course, out of all the things that I listed previously, we could probably come up with, hey, she's probably not stealing this car. So I literally just saw this story that was reported about 15 hours ago, the last time I looked at it. So I don't have a follow-up, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this. And we heard where the chief stated that, changes have been implemented. And here's the changes that they put into play. The changes that they put into play were to just double check to make sure the car has been removed from the stolen list out of their system. Something they should have been doing to start with. Why does that have to be a change? That should have been standard procedure, but it wasn't. Well, as we always say, always record the police, always know your rights. With that being said, we the People University, signing off. If you're one of the viewers who reached out saying that you're not getting any of the We the People University notifications, I have a solution. By texting WTPU to 844-764-2158, I can personally notify you whenever we publish videos. Text WTPU to 844-764-2158 and you will receive a text message notification with the link every time we publish a video.